Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We are taking a look today at the Florida Panthers. We've heard over the last couple weeks, a couple of hockey insiders have mentioned the Florida Panthers as a team that should be very interesting going into the 2021 NHL trade deadline. We'll be taking a look at that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and even bigger, subscribe down below, and let's take a look at the Florida Panthers. So, according to a couple of sources, we've heard that the Florida Panthers general manager, Bill Zito, is cooking the phone lines. Now, according to that source, you could probably figure that Bill Zito has been looking at trade offers. And since that was mentioned, that he was talking about cooking the phone lines, since then, the Florida Panthers have lost their best defenseman, their captain, Aaron Ekblad. Now, obviously, with Ekblad out of the lineup, that's a huge loss for this Panthers team. So, never mind, I'm just going to say it now because you guys are going to say in the comments, he's not the captain. Yes, I just figured that out. So, before you leave it in the comments, Ekblad is not the captain. But it's still important that his loss is huge for the Florida Panthers. And it probably changes how urgent maybe the Florida Panthers are going into this trade deadline. So obviously with Aaron Ekblad out, he sprained his knee or something, or tore his MCL. So obviously he's going to be out for the rest of the season, you could figure. With where the Florida Panthers are in the standings, a top 10 team in the NHL standings, you can argue that the Florida Panthers should be a playoff team this year and maybe even potentially a cup favorite if they maybe get past a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Carolina Hurricanes. So you can make that argument that the Florida Panthers are a cup contender this year. And depending on how things go with maybe Spencer Knight down the stretch, you're going to have some help in between the pipes. So you maybe don't need a goaltender. What else could they use? Well, they obviously need a defenseman. You're not replacing Aaron Ekblad. That's just not going to happen. Unless you're going to the Coyotes and looking for an Oliver Ekman-Larsson deal of some sort. But they're trying to save money down the road. Because remember, they're going to have to sign Barkov and Huberdeau over the next couple years. They need to save as much salary cap space as they can. So if they take on a guy like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, that fixes the issue for now, this season. But for long term, it doesn't make much sense. So that's the only legitimate option I could see. The Florida Panthers let Shane Gostisbehere, Florida native, go through waivers, and from the Philadelphia Flyers, he went unclaimed. There was some speculation that the Panthers would look toward a guy like Shane Gostisbehere, but the cap hit is just too high. The Florida Panthers will look elsewhere. Going back to Arizona, though, there's a couple guys that should draw their interest. Jordan Oesterle, who is a cheaper guy. You have guys like Alex Goligoski, who has spent a long time in the NHL playing with the Dallas Stars. He's played with the Arizona Coyotes, so he's got a little bit of a career under his belt. So Alex Goligoski would be a nice addition. You still have a guy also like Jason Demers. Do they want to bring a guy like Jason Demers back to Florida after signing, obviously things not working out there earlier in his contract, so maybe they don't decide to do that. But like I said, I think a guy like Alex Goligoski seems like a really, really nice fit for the Florida Panthers. And now that, you're not going to have Ekblad, you really are going to need some help, especially on the right side of that defense. Moving on, we're going to take a look at the forwards. So the forwards, there's been talk that they could look at some forwards. There's a couple of pretty cheap options out there. You could look at some guys like Connor Garland. Maybe you could look at a guy like Kyle Palmieri. But we've also heard that they've been in on guys like Taylor Hall as well. Now, if you really want to be crazy, talk about a longer-term contract, Rasmus Ristolainen, he is the closest thing maybe on the trade market other than a guy like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Rasmus Ristolainen, right shot defenseman. He can play heavy minutes, and he hasn't really gotten a fair shake in Buffalo. That team he's never been on a winning team. So there is some question about how good would he really be for the Florida Panthers on a Panthers team that's pretty solid overall. But again, salary cap. Salary cap's going to be an issue because it's for this year and next year. So Ristolainen is not a rental like a lot of these other guys. So he's going to come at a higher price tag. And from what we've heard from the Florida Panthers, they do not want to give up prospects. So if that's the case, they're going to be getting guys fairly cheap. So I hate to say it, guys like Ristolainen, guys like Taylor Hall, kind of seem like a long shot at this point. Because most of those teams are looking for a first-round pick at the very least for Taylor Hall and Rasmus Ristolainen. And Buffalo doesn't seem too comfortable with trading those sorts of assets right now. So then you comes back to a guy like Alex Goligoski, right? He seems like a pretty solid fit because you could get him for maybe a second, maybe even a third-round pick, a third and a fifth. Kind of like what we saw with the Eric Staal deal. You bring in Alex Goligoski. He's a nice defenseman. He fits into your system, and he's a rental. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, what the Florida Panthers are looking for. And because of his salary cap, they'd still have money if they want to. Let's say the Coyotes retain half that salary. The Florida Panthers can go and try and acquire a forward as well. And I think Connor Garland seems like the best fit. If Garland and Goligoski for maybe 2 seconds and a fourth, could that work? I don't know. It seems like a pretty high price tag. But, again, these are rentals. The Coyotes may be looking in a direction that, maybe as a seller. But even the Coyotes still believe they have a chance just over a week before the trade deadline. So maybe they're going to wait till the last minute to decide that they are sellers, but the Florida Panthers cannot really afford to wait that long, especially with how things have kind of changed around in the Central. We've seen the Nashville Predators, the Columbus Blue Jackets stay right on the brink of maybe making the playoffs, and has made it difficult for a team like the Florida Panthers over the past couple of weeks. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think we're going to see the Florida Panthers do at the 2021 NHL trade deadline? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and let's go Panthers.